Let me tell you something about humans. They are absolutely ridiculous creatures. Soft, squishy things with bones on the inside. Who designed a species like that? Not that it matters. For 10,000 cycles, the Galactic Alliance ignored their little blue planet. We had good reasons. I assure you. My name is Zax Vorpal, Senior Diplomatic Historian for the Alliance Central Archives, and I'm recording this historical account because, well, someone has to tell the truth. The official records are so sanitized, they practically smell of disinfectant. But I was there. I saw it all unfold. And frankly, it's too absurd not to share. Earth was categorized as a Class D development world, barely worth monitoring. Their technology was primitive, their political structures chaotic, and their entertainment programming consisted mostly of watching other humans pretend to be different humans. Fascinating waste of cognitive resources. The Alliance had bigger concerns. The Krex Dominion was expanding along our eastern quadrant. The Pulsar Concordance was threatening trade routes, and the Supreme Council was deadlocked on whether to allow recreational dimension hopping. Standard political nonsense when Scout Vessel Zeta 19 picked up unusual energy signatures from Earth in the year humans called 2047. It was flagged as irregular but non-priority. The report was filed under miscellaneous anomalies and promptly forgotten. That was our first mistake. Our second mistake? Not realizing humans are like those small furry pets some council members keep, seemingly harmless until they chew through your quantum stabilizers while you're sleeping. The real trouble began when Captain Nix Quasar of the Alliance Protection Fleet received orders to investigate a distress signal near the Cygnus Arm routine mission. Nothing special. Captain, approaching coordinates now, First Officer Drell announced, her 4 eyes fixed on the navigation console. Nix sighed, mandibles clicking with boredom. Another day, another rescue mission. Probably some trade vessel with engine problems. Sir, Communications Officer Vox interrupted, antennae twitching nervously. We are detecting an unusual vessel. Configuration unknown. Nix straightened in his command chair. Unknown? Display. The view screen activated, showing a small, asymmetrical craft constructed of what appear to be metal sheets and ceramic tiles. How quaint. Is that held together with adhesives? Nix asked, incredulous. Affirmative, Captain, Science Officer Lumi replied. And it appears to be leaking oxygen. Deliberately. Who would waste oxygen? Drell wondered. The communications panel chimed. Captain, they are hailing us. Audio only, primitive radio waves. This should be entertaining. Nix muttered. Put it through. A strange voice filled the bridge. This is Commander Thomas Jackson of the Earth Space Agency Deep Exploration Vessel Horizon. We come in peace and friendship. Our life support is failing. Request assistance. The bridge crew exchanged confused glances. Earth, Nix whispered to Lumi. That backwater planet in the Sol system? Lumi nodded, all 6 eye stalks blinking in surprise. How'd they even get this far? Drell asked. Nix shrugged his upper shoulders. Alliance protocol is clear. We render assistance. He pressed the response button. Earth vessel. This is Captain Nix Quasar of the Alliance Protection Fleet. Stand by for rescue procedures. When the airlock cycled open, the bridge crew got their first look at humans up close. They were even stranger in person. Only 2 eyes, no exoskeleton, skin in various shades of beige and brown. 5 of them stood there, radiating both fear and curiosity. Greetings, Nix said formally. Welcome aboard the Nova Sentinel. The tallest human stepped forward. Commander Jackson, thank you for the rescue. He gestured to his companions. Dr. Patel, our science officer. Lieutenant Reynolds, security. Dr. Zhou, xenobiologist. And Specialist Cooper, our engineer. Nix introduced his own officers, noting how the humans stared at Lumi's eye stalks and Drell's 4 arms with poorly disguised fascination. If I may ask, Nix said carefully, how did your species achieve deep space travel? Our records indicate your civilization is pre-warp. Jackson smiled. We are full of surprises, Captain. Our quantum fold drive is experimental. This was supposed to be a short test jump to Mars. You are approximately 1,500 light years from your home system, Lumi informed them. That would explain why our navigation system said calculation error. Specialist Cooper mumbled that doctor. Zhou stepped forward, eyes wide. We have dreamed of this moment. contact with intelligent life beyond Earth. We have so many questions, as do we, Nix replied diplomatically. But first, let's address your immediate needs. Your vessel is quite damaged. It wasn't designed for actual deep space travel, Cooper admitted. Just orbital tests. When a full drive malfunctioned, we were lucky to keep life support running this long. Nix was about to respond when the ship's alarm blared. Captain, Vox called urgently. 3 Krex warships decloaking off our starboard bow. Nix's mandibles clicked in alarm. Battle stations. Shields up. The humans exchanged worried glances. Is this normal for a rescue mission? Jackson asked. Not even slightly. Nix replied grimly. The Krex Dominion has been probing our borders for months. You have had the misfortune of arriving during a territorial dispute. The view screen activated, showing a Krex commander, 8 feet of armored reptilian menace with gleaming cybernetic implants. Alliance vessel, the Krex hissed. You have entered contested space. Prepare to be boarded. Contested? Nix retorted. This sector was settled by Alliance treaty 80 cycles ago. Treaties change, the Krex commander replied ominously. As will the balance of power. The transmission cut. They are powering weapons, Drell reported. Our shields can withstand their initial barrage, Lumi said, but not sustained fire from 3 warships. Specialist Cooper cleared her throat. Excuse me, but maybe we can help. All Alliance crew turned to stare at the human. Your vessel has approximately 1/8 the firepower of a single Krex warship, Nix explained slowly. How exactly could you help? Cooper smiled. Our quantum full drive works by creating a dimensional pocket. If we could transfer the technology to your torpedoes, we could create localized spatial disruptions in their shield matrix. Lumi finished, eye stalks quivering with excitement. Precisely, Cooper nodded. Nix hesitated. Alliance protocol strictly forbade sharing technology with undeveloped species, but also forbade surrendering to the Krex. How quickly can you modify our weapon systems? He asked. With your help. Cooper glanced at the approaching Krex ships. Just fast enough, I hope. The next 6 hours were a blur of activity. While Nix's crew engaged in evasive maneuvers, Cooper and Dr. Patel worked frantically with the Alliance engineers to adapt the quantum fold technology. I don't understand, Alliance engineer Traz said, watching Cooper rewire a torpedo guidance system. Your species hadn't even achieved unified planetary government. Yet you developed dimensional folding. We are complicated, Cooper replied without looking up. Sometimes we fight amongst ourselves. Sometimes we achieve the impossible. Last Tuesday, I couldn't find my keys, but I can redesign an alien weapon system. Go figure. Your species is deeply confusing, Traz admitted. You should see our reality television, Cooper muttered. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Commander Jackson was providing unexpected tactical insights. The Krex formation has a weakness, he observed, studying the sensor displays. They're protecting their flagship at the expense of their flanks. How would you know Krex battle tactics? Drell asked suspiciously. Jackson shrugged. I wouldn't. But military strategy has certain universals. I studied historical Earth generals. Alexander, Hannibal, Napoleon, Zhukov. Humans have fought wars among themselves. Nix asked, surprised. Constantly, Jackson replied. It's one of our least attractive features, but it means we understand combat. Nix considered this. What would you suggest? A feint toward their flagship to draw their defensive fire, then hit the leftmost vessel with your modified torpedoes. Create a cascading disruption. Nix nodded slowly. It could work. When the torpedoes were ready, Nix addressed the combined crew. This is highly irregular, he said. Alliance protocol doesn't allow for cooperation with pre-contact civilizations, but circumstances have forced our hands. Or in your case, he nodded to the humans, your curiously non-clawed appendages. We are honored to help, Jackson replied. We have one chance, Nix continued. If these modifications work, we create a dimensional fold inside their shield matrix, causing a feedback loop that should disable their systems. If it fails, we all die horribly, Drell finished helpfully. Thank you, First Officer, Nix said dryly. Battle stations, everyone. The plan went perfectly, right until it didn't. The feint drew the Krex ships into position, and the modified torpedoes launched flawlessly. When they detonated, the leftmost Krex ships' shields collapsed spectacularly, exactly as planned. Then, unexpectedly, the dimensional pocket expanded, growing larger instead of collapsing. What's happening? Nix demanded as the bridge view screen showed a swirling vortex forming where the Krex ship had been. The fold is expanding exponentially. Lumi exclaimed. It's creating a temporary wormhole. That's not supposed to happen, Cooper whispered, eyes wide. Where does it lead? Nix asked. Before anyone could answer, dozens of ships began pouring through the wormhole, sleek, deadly vessels of unknown configuration. Captain, Vox called out, we are receiving a transmission from the lead vessel. The view screen shifted to show a new alien. Humanoid, but with luminescent skin that pulsed with changing patterns. Alliance vessel. The being said in perfect galactic standard, I am Admiral Zen of the Temporal Confederation. We have been trapped in pocket dimension C, 592, for 300 years, unable to break through. Your dimensional disruption created a pathway home. We are in your debt. Nick stared, mandibles slack with shock. The Temporal Confederation was legendary, a highly advanced civilization that had mysteriously vanished centuries ago. Your timing is excellent. Nix finally managed. We are currently engaged with Krex Dominion forces. Admiral Zen's skin flashed blue with determination. The Krex, old enemies. We would be pleased to assist you. What followed was the shortest battle in recorded Alliance history. The Temporal Confederation ships made quick work of the remaining Krex warships, which retreated in disarray. After the battle, Admiral Zen's hologram stood in the Nova Sentinel's conference room, addressing the combined crews. Our civilization owes its freedom to this unusual collaboration, Zen said, luminescent skin pulsing gold with gratitude. Particularly to the humans, I believe you called yourselves. Your dimensional technology, while crude, was the key. Crude, Cooper muttered indignantly. A happy accident, Jackson said diplomatically. We were just trying not to die. Admiral Zen continued. Captain Quasar, the Alliance must be informed of our return and of the humans' contribution. The Temporal Confederation will honor this debt. Nix looked deeply uncomfortable. Admiral, regarding the humans, they are technically a pre-contact civilization. Our intervention here violated several Alliance protocols. Zen's skin flashed purple with amusement. Captain, they're clearly capable of deep space travel and dimensional manipulation. Whatever classification your bureaucracy has assigned them seems outdated. That's putting it mildly, Dr. Zhou murmured. And that, dear listeners, is how 5 lost humans accidentally changed the course of galactic politics. When the Nova Sentinel returned to Alliance space with a human vessel in tow and a long-lost Temporal Confederation fleet beside them, the Supreme Council nearly had a collective apoplexy. The emergency session was broadcast across all Alliance worlds. I watched from my junior diplomat's office, fascinated as Supreme Counselor Thax, all 7 feet of ceremonial robes and pompous arrogance, addressed the chamber. This is unprecedented. Thax thundered, tentacles writhing with agitation. Captain Quasar not only revealed our existence to a primitive species, but collaborated with them technologically. Admiral Zen's hologram stood calmly beside the human delegation. With respect, Counselor, without human intervention, the Temporal Confederation would remain trapped and the Nova Sentinel likely destroyed by Krex forces. That doesn't change protocol, Thax insisted. Earth remains classified as a developing world, unready for galactic citizenship. Commander Jackson stepped forward. Counselor, may I speak? The chamber fell silent. No representative of a non-member species had ever addressed the Supreme Council directly. This is highly irregular, Thax muttered, but gestured for Jackson to continue. Esteemed Council, Jackson began, humanity doesn't claim to be perfect. We have made countless mistakes throughout our history. We have fought wars, damaged our environment, created reality television. A confused murmur rippled through the council at the last item. But we have also written symphonies, cured diseases, and looked to the stars with wonder rather than fear. When our quantum fold drive malfunctioned, we found ourselves alone in the vastness of space. Instead of panic, we saw opportunity. Instead of suspicion, we offered trust. Jackson gestured toward Captain Nix. When the Krex attacked, we didn't hesitate to help our rescuers. Not because of protocol, but because it was right. If cooperation in the face of danger isn't the foundation of your alliance, then what is? Silence hung in the chamber until a small, ancient counselor named Vivi hobbled forward. "I have reviewed the technical specifications of the human quantum fold drive," she said, her voice surprisingly strong for her diminutive size. "Their approach to dimensional mechanics is unorthodox. Brilliant, but unorthodox. They conceptualized principles our scientists dismissed centuries ago as too unstable. Because they are unstable." Thax protested. "Yes," Vivi agreed. "Like all truly transformative ideas, the humans didn't know certain approaches were impossible, so they simply did them anyway." She turned to Jackson. "Your species has a unique perspective we didn't know we needed." Admiral Zen stepped forward, skin glowing bright white. "The Temporal Confederation formally requests that humanity be granted probationary alliance membership. We will sponsor them." Gasps echoed throughout the chamber. Sponsorship from the legendary Temporal Confederation was unprecedented. Thax sputtered. "They haven't even unified their own planet." "Actually," Dr. Zhou interjected, "our Quantum Fold project was the first truly global initiative in Earth's history. Nations that were historical adversaries contributed resources and expertise." Counselor Vivi smiled, showing tiny pointed teeth. "Sometimes, facing the unknown together accomplishes what diplomacy cannot." After hours of debate, the Council narrowly approved Earth's probationary status. I was assigned as cultural liaison to the human delegation, my first significant diplomatic posting. Their quarters in the Alliance Central Embassy became informally known as the Earth Wing, and quickly became the most fascinating assignment on the station. 6 months after Earth joined the Alliance, I was reviewing historical artifacts with Dr. Zhou when we discovered something remarkable. "This can't be right," I muttered, staring at the ancient Temporal Confederation text. "According to this, your arrival was prophesied 5,000 years ago." Dr. Zhou leaned over my shoulder. "What does it say?" Roughly translated, "When the silent world speaks, the lost shall return, and the shadow shall be revealed." This silent world appears to reference Earth. Your radio signals were considered too primitive to qualify as interstellar communication, and the lost would be the Temporal Confederation. Zhou nodded. "But what's this shadow?" Before I could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. We rushed to the command center where chaos reigned. Supreme Counselor Thax was shouting at Admiral Zen, while Captain Nix and Commander Jackson tried to make sense of sensor readings. "What's happening?" I asked Specialist Cooper, who was frantically working at a console. "Remember how our quantum fold experiment went slightly wrong and created a temporary wormhole?" She replied without looking up. "Yes, well, it seems it also created a cascading dimensional fracture that's been expanding through subspace. The Temporal Confederation detected it this morning." "Is that bad?" I asked hesitantly. "Fine bad," Cooper replied. "If by bad, you mean potentially allowing ancient extra-dimensional entities to enter our reality and consume all organic life, then yes, pretty bad." "That would be the shadow," Dr. Zhou murmured. Commander Jackson joined us. "The Alliance Council is deadlocked on how to respond. Traditional dimensional sealing techniques won't work because of how our quantum fold technology interacted with Alliance systems. So we accidentally tore a hole in reality," Cooper summarized, "and now everyone's arguing instead of fixing it." "Welcome to interstellar politics," I said glumly. Jackson straightened his uniform. "We need to take action now." "Cooper, can we modify the fold drive to collapse the fracture?" "Theoretically, yes," she replied. "But we need to deliver it directly to the fracture point. Someone would have to pilot a ship there, and they probably wouldn't make it back." Jackson nodded grimly. "I will do it." "Not alone," Captain Nix said, approaching. "Alliance protocol clearly states." "With all due respect, Captain," Jackson interrupted, "Earth caused this problem. Earth should fix it." Admiral Zen joined them, skin pulsing red and gold. "The prophecy speaks of sacrifice and unity. Not one species alone, but together." And so a joint mission was quickly organized. Commander Jackson piloting, with Captain Nix navigating, Cooper and Alliance engineer Traz working on the modified fold drive. The rest of us could only watch and wait. The fracture had manifested near a dead star on the edge of Alliance space. As their small vessel approached, our monitoring stations displayed the horrifying reality, a tear in the fabric of space-time, with writhing shapes visible just beyond. "Those are definitely not friendly interdimensional tourists," Cooper's voice came through comms, strained but still maintaining humor. Approaching delivery point, Jackson reported. Full drive modifications complete. Preparing for detonation sequence. Then disaster. A tendril of darkness lashed out from the fracture, enveloping their ship. We have lost propulsion, Nix reported, his usual composure finally breaking. Unable to retreat to safe distance after deployment. Silence fell across the command center. The mission parameters were clear. Someone had to manually activate the full drive at the fracture point. There would be no escape. It's been an honor serving with you, Captain. Jackson's voice came through, remarkably steady. The honor was mine, Commander, Nix replied. Your species would have made exceptional alliance members. Would have. Jackson chuckled. Don't count us out yet. That's when Specialist Cooper's voice broke in. Actually, I think I have figured something out. The fracture has unique temporal properties. If we reverse the polarity of the full drive, while simultaneously initiating a controlled quantum cascade, we could ride the dimensional shockwave back to normal space. Traz finished excitedly. It's never been attempted, Cooper admitted. The mathematical probability of success is, don't tell me the odds, Jackson interrupted. Just do it. What followed was the most spectacular light show the Alliance had ever witnessed. The modified full drive created a controlled implosion that sealed the fracture while generating a quantum shockwave that rippled across 3 sectors. When it cleared, their vessel was tumbling through space, damaged but intact, with all crew members alive. AS rescue ships rushed to retrieve them. Supreme Counselor Thax turned to me, eye stalks drooping with a mixture of relief and resignation. You realize what this means, don't you, Zax? He asked. That humans saved the galaxy, and we will never hear the end of it. I suggested. Worse, Thax sighed. We will have to grant them full Alliance membership. Can you imagine what they will be like with actual authority? 1 year later, I stood beside Commander Jackson, now Ambassador Jackson, as Earth was formally inducted into the Galactic Alliance. The ceremony was broadcast to all Alliance worlds, and for the first time, to Earth itself. Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this? I asked him as we watched representatives from 100 species mingle with the expanded human delegation. Not even close, Jackson admitted. When we left Earth, we were just testing an experimental drive. Now we are helping establish interstellar trade routes and cultural exchange programs. Supreme Counselor Thax approached, his ceremonial robes even more elaborate than usual. Ambassador Jackson, he said stiffly. The Council has reviewed your proposal for an Alliance Rapid Response Force combining human tactical thinking with Temporal Confederation technology. And? Jackson asked. It has been approved, Thax said, managing to sound both impressed and irritated. Admiral Zen will oversee the technical aspects, while you will direct strategic operations. Thank you, Counselor, Jackson replied diplomatically. When Thax had moved on, Jackson turned to me. He still doesn't like us much, does he? He's coming around, I replied. When the humans and Temporal Confederation co-developed the new shield harmonics that rendered Krex weapons obsolete, you earned significant political capital. Jackson smiled. And the fact that Dr. Zhou's cultural exchange program has made Earth entertainment the most popular media in 3 quadrants probably helps. I groaned. Please, not another discussion of your cat videos. The Alliance was not prepared for those. Across the room, Specialist Cooper was enthusiastically explaining something to a group of Alliance scientists, her hands gesturing wildly as they watched with a mixture of horror and fascination. Should we be concerned about that? I asked. Jackson followed my gaze. Cooper's showing them her new theory on transdimensional propulsion. She thinks we can reduce interstellar travel time by 60%. Is it dangerous? Almost certainly, Jackson replied cheerfully. But potentially revolutionary. That seems to be humanity's specialty. I observed as the celebration continued around us. Ambassador Jackson grew serious. You know, the Alliance ignored Earth for thousands of years. We developed in isolation, making countless mistakes along the way. And now I wonder if that was exactly what needed to happen. He gestured to where Captain Nix was deep in conversation with Admiral Zen. The Alliance had become rigid, bound by tradition and protocol. The Temporal Confederation was lost. The Krex were expanding unchecked. And then humans arrived and accidentally fixed everything by breaking the rules you didn't even know existed. I finished. Sometimes the most valuable perspective comes from those who don't know what's impossible, Jackson said. Later that evening, as the formal ceremonies concluded, I found myself alone with Admiral Zen on an observation deck overlooking the vast Alliance capital. Was it really a prophecy? I asked. Or did the Temporal Confederation somehow know what would happen? Zen's skin rippled with patterns I couldn't interpret. Time isn't as linear as most species believe, historian Vorpal. Let's just say that humanity's arrival on the galactic stage was anticipated. Did you manipulate events to bring this about? I pressed. Admiral Zen smiled mysteriously. The universe has its own way of bringing together what needs to be connected. We merely observe the pattern. I watched as a small Earth transport ship departed for home, carrying the first official Alliance delegation to visit humanity's homeworld. What happens now? I asked. Now. Zen's skin glowed with a warm golden light. Now the real adventure begins. And so it did. The species that the Alliance had ignored for millennia had become its unlikely savior, bringing with them chaos, innovation, and those inexplicable cat videos. This is Zax Vorpal, senior diplomatic historian, concluding this unofficial record. May future historians forgive the lack of protocol on my account, but then again, that's precisely the lesson humanity taught us. Sometimes the rules need breaking. Sometimes the most important voice is the one you never bothered to hear.